Hello everyone, welcome to the video. So in this video, let's discuss about AWS DynamoDB. So before moving into the topic, let's see what are the topics which we are going to cover in this video. So firstly, what is DynamoDB? What are the key features of DynamoDB core components, and what are the difference between the relational database versus DynamoDB, and what are the benefits of using DynamoDB, and use cases and pricing of the DynamoDB. So firstly, what is AWS DynamoDB? So DynamoDB is a fully managed serverless NoSQL database service provided by the AWS. So, DynamoDB is a NoSQL database. So, instead of using a tables with their rows and columns like a traditional database, so DynamoDB stores data as a key value pair or the document format. So it is designed to provide fast and predictable performance with a seamless scalability, making it ideal for the application requiring low latency, high throughput data access. So the dynamic DB scales and fast, scalable and fast, so it can handle any amount of data and server thousands of requests per second with a low latency. So you don't have to worry about managing server storage or infrastructure. So the DynamoDB it is automatically scale up and scale down based on your needs. So the DynamoDB great for applications like a real-time gaming, mobile applications, IoT applications, or any system needing high availability and fast response times. Now let's discuss about key features of DynamoDB. So it's a fully managed AWS handle maintenance, security, and scaling. So AWS take care of all the stuffs like maintaining servers, securing data, scaling up or down. So you just focus on your application, not the database management. And it provide a high performance, like milliseconds response time. So DynamoDB delivers super fast results often in milliseconds. So no matter how much data you're storing, and it also provides the scalability feature. So automatic horizontal scaling. As your data grows, so DynamoDB automatically adds more capacity to handle it, like getting a bigger plate when you need it. So by without asking. And it is also serverless, no need to manage infrastructure, so you don't need to set up or manage any servers. DynamoDB runs behind the scene, so you can focus on building your application. Global tables, so multi-region multi-master replication. So it can sync your data across the multiple regions around the world. So this will make your application faster for the user. So no matter where they are, and it will also provide the backup and restore feature. So continuous backup and on-demand recovery. So you can save copies of your data like backups and store them if something goes wrong. So it ensure nothing get permanently delayed or lost. And it is also provide the security feature. So by encryption at rest and in transit. So your data is protected using encryption both when stored and when being sent over the internet. So it stays safe from the unauthorized access. And support the streams, capture items level changes. Like DynamoDB can track changes made to your data, like who update what, and send notification, making it easier to monitor activity or trigger other process also. And it provide the integrations seamlessly with AWS services like a Lambda, CloudWatch, like that. So DynamoDB works seamlessly with the other AWS tools like a Lambda function. So it is the Lambda function automatically react to changes into your data. So the CloudWatch will help to monitor and log performance. Now let's discuss about the core components of the AWS DynamoDB. So the core components are tables, items, attributes, primary keys, and indexes. Now let's discuss about what is table. So table is a collections of items similar to tables in a relation database. So in the upcoming slides, let's talk about relational database. So a table is like a container that hold your data. So think of it's like a spreadsheet where all the records items are stored. So items are individual records similar to rows. So an item is like a single row in a table. So it represent one specific record in your database. For example, in a table of the users, one item could be represent a specific user, and the attribute means data elements within a item similar to the columns. So attribute are like a columns in a row. So represent the piece of information stored in the item. For example, in the user table, so attribute might include username, email, or phone number. And primary key. So in the primary key, there are two types of key. So one is partition key, another one is composite key. So partition key is like a single attribute to uniquely identify items. So a single attribute that uniquely identify an item. So for example, user ID. So it might be a partition key in the user table. And the composite key, like a partition, it's a combination of partition key plus a sort key. So it's a unique combinations of two attributes. So the partition key is a group of related items together. The sort key means order items within a group. For example, so in order table, partition key is like a customer ID. The sort key is order date. And lastly, the indexes. The indexes means in the indexes there are two types of the global secondary indexes and the local secondary indexes. The global secondary indexes means, so it will let you query data using any attributes, not just a primary key. For example, in the user table, so primary key is the user ID. So you could create a global secondary index to search an email. So the local secondary index means it will let you query data using the same partition key as the table. So, but the different sort of key. Now, let's talk about what are the difference between the relational database and DynamoDB. So, the relational database use the tables with the row and columns. So it will the relational database stores the data in the form of the tables with the rows and columns. So similar to spreadsheets, so it uses a fixed schema, meaning that structure of data is predefined. Example like, so every row must have the same column. But in the DynamoDB, so It stores the data in the form of key value pair or the documents. So the relational database use the SQL, so that is a structured query language to store the data. But the DynamoDB uh, queries are similar and focus on retrieving data based on the primary key or the indexes. So it doesn't support a join or complex queries. So the relational database is a predefined and strict structure for all rows. So it's typically it uses the SQL structure query language to query data, so which allow complex join and relation between tables. But the DynamoDB is flexible, so it allows the different type of data in the same data. So the relational database is a scalable thing. So it's scalable vertical. That means it will add power to one server. So that means I typically scale vertically, so adding more power to on the one server, so which can be limited and costly. So, but the DynamoDB scalable horizontally, so it will add more servers automatically. That means it will automatically scale horizontally, so making it easy to handle the large amount of data and the traffic. Uh, in coming to the performance, the relational database may slow down with the large dataset or the complex queries. So, its performance can slow down as the data grows, especially with the complex queries. But the DynamoDB optimize it for the high speed performance, providing consistent millisecond response time even with the large dataset. So when comes to the joins, it support the complex joins and relationship across the tables. So it is ideal for the applications needing structured relationship, like accounting system or inventory management. But when comes to the DynamoDB, it doesn't support joins, so it focuses on the single table queries. So the relational database, it will manage the queries manual maintenance unless using the managed service. So you may need to manage servers maintenance backups or scaling unless using a managed services like Amazon RDS. So when it comes to the DynamoDB, so it's a fully managed by the AWS. So no server maintenance needed. So the DynamoDB is fully managed by the AWS. You don't need to worry about server scaling or the backups. So when it comes to the use cases, accounting system, ERP, inventory management, uh, the relational database ideal for the application needing structured relational database like accounting system or inventory management. But when it comes to the DynamoDB, so it's a great for the applications requiring flexibility, scalability, and high-speed access like a gaming, leaderboards, or IoT data, or the mobile application data. So the relational database is a typically involves high upfront planning and the cost. When it comes to the DynamoDB, you need to pay only what you use. That is pay as you go models with uh, on demand or the provisional capacity. Now let's discuss about benefits of the AWS DynamoDB. Performance at scale, consistent millisecond response times regardless of workloads. So DynamoDB provides a super fast response time in a millisecond. So no matter how much data you have or how busy your application get. So when you use AWS DynamoDB, so it provide features like serverless, so no operational overhead. So we don't have to worry about managing servers or hardware. So the AWS will handle all the behind the scenes work for you. And it is also highly available feature, so data replication across the multiple availability zone. So your data is automatically copied and stores in a multiple locations or the availability zones. So it says safe and accessible even if one location has an issue. And the DynamoDB is a fully managed, so AWS take care of maintenance, security, and scaling. So the AWS DynamoDB is a flexible data model, so it will support both key value and document data types. So you can store the data in a two ways. So that first one is key value, and the second one is document data types. So in a key value, so simple pairs like username and their profile, and the document is like a more complex structure like a JSON objects to represent detailed user data, and it will provide a high security by encryption and a fine grained access control, uh, that is IAM. So your data is encrypted, protected from the unauthorized access. So it provides features like a fine granted access control. So you can decide who get access to the specific part of your data using AWS IAM role. So that is identity and access management. Now let's discuss about what are the common use cases of AWS DynamoDB. So first one is gaming leaderboards. So the real time and high performance data retrieval. So the DynamoDB will track players score in a real time. So it fast and can handle lot of updates simultaneously. So making it perfect for the ranking players in a games with a millions of users. And it is also used in the IoT data storage. So it helps to scalable ingestion of the large volumes of sensor data. So it can handle huge amount of data coming in quickly from the multiple devices and scale easily as your IoT network grows. And it is also used in the web applications. So it will help to manage user profile, track activity sessions, and organize content for the websites. So it's a highly available and ensure user data is always accessible, even during heavy website traffic. And it is also used in the e-commerce like a shopping cart and product catalogs management. So it will help to store shopping cart data, product details, and customer data. So it's a low latency, ensure customers experience fast and smooth shopping. So even during the big sales or the holiday seasons, and also it will use it in the mobile backends, like fast and responsive user data handling. So it will help to manage the applications data like a user performance, user preferences, messages, and activity logs. So it is fast and responsive, which is essential for the mobile applications to provide a great user experience. Now let's discuss about how the pricing works for the AWS DynamoDB. So in the on-demand mode, so pay per the request. So you need to pay per the request. So in the provisional mode, specify read and write capacity unit. So we need to specify how much read and write capacity your application will need. So read capacity unit, number of the reads per second. Write capacity units, number of the write per second. So there is a feature like free tiers. So 25 GB storage plus 200 million requests per month for the first users. So in the free tier, the AWS will provide a 25 GB of storage plus you can send out 200 million requests per the month for the only for the first 12 months. So after 12 months, you need to pay per each request, and they will apply for the additional cost like DynamoDB streams, global tables, backup and restores, and DynamoDB accelerators. So they will apply the additional charges for all these services. Now let's see how to create a NoSQL database with the help of the DynamoDB. So this is the AWS DynamoDB console. So when you enter this console, you can get a detailed idea about how it works and all. So what are the pricing and benefits and features, and what are the use cases of the DynamoDB. Now let's create a table. So you need to enter a name for the name for your table. So here I'm going to give customer. So I'm creating a table in the name of customer, and here I can see partition key. So partition key is nothing but a primary key, is acting like a primary key. So partition key as the main identifier of your data. So DynamoDB use this key, that is a partition key, to decide where to store your data. So it split your data across the different partitions using the key. For example, like if you are storing user data, so the partition key could be the user ID. So each user will have a unique ID. So here I'm going to give user ID as a partition key, and the user ID is a string, and the sort key is optional. So sort key is an extra key that help organize your data within the same partition. So it sorts all the items that have same partition key, like a secondary level organization. For example, like if you want to store user order history, so you could use user ID as the partition key and order data as the sort key. So for example, like here you can see in this table, so partition key is nothing but a user ID, and here you can see this is the partition key, that is user ID, and the sort key is the order date. So partition key uh, plus a sort key, so combination of both, we can call it as a composite primary key. So the next thing is in the table settings. So they provide two options. First one is a default setting, and the second one is customized settings. So in the default setting, if you select this option, so DynamoDB will use the pre-configured default for the creating tables. So these default includes settings for the table name, key, schema, capacity, mode, and more. So you can modify these settings after creating the table. If you choose customize settings, so they will provide configurations to customize your tables. So here you can see in the table class, they provide two type of table classes. First one is DynamoDB standard, and the second thing is DynamoDB standard AI. So, sorry, IA. So if you select DynamoDB standard, so this option will recommended for the most use cases where data is frequently accessed. So costs are driven by the throughput, like read and write. So if you select DynamoDB standard IA, IA stand for infrequent access. So it is suitable for the data that is rarely accessed. So if you want to store your data for the long term, you can choose a DynamoDB standard IA. So it offers a low storage cost, but higher cost for the data retrieval. So it is best when the storage cost outweighs the throughput cost. So I'm going with the DynamoDB standard. So in the read and uh, read and write capacity settings, so they provide two type of configuration. First one is on demand and provisional. So if you choose on demand, so automatically scale up or down based on your traffic. So it simplify billing by charging only for the actual read and write ideal for the unpredictable workloads or low traffic applications. If you choose a provisional, so they provide a read. You can set up the read and write capacity. So you can choose auto scaling. So if the traffic is high, it is automatically scale up the read and write capacity. So so go with the default configuration and uh, click create table. So here you can see the table is creating in the name of customer. So let's wait. So you can also choose a replication reason also. So if you want a replication of your tables, you can choose your reason, and so they will provide 25 GB of read and write capacity for the free tier accounts, or you can extend. So here the table status is active. So let's enter into the table. So here you can see there are no items in this table. So let's add some items into the table. So go to action. Here you can see create items. So here you can see the user ID is a partition key. So you need to enter the value for the user id. So I'm going to enter not 1. So here you can see the item has been added to the table. So user id is 101. So let's add more data. So I'm going to choose a string. The attribute name is first name. So value Santosh, and you can add more items. So I'm going to add second name Kumar, and I'm going to add address like city Bangalore. So that's great. So you need to enter you need to enter the value for the partition key like that is a user id. Here you can see the second items are added to the table. So user id is 102 and city is Bangalore. Name first name is Santosh, second name is Kumar. So let's edit this one. So here you can see the items are added to the customer table. So this is how you can create a non-SQL table with the help of the DynamoDB. So after creating, you can back up the table. So here you can see there is options called backup. So you can create a backup of your table, or you can export this table into the uh, S3 bucket, or you can export the items or content from the S3 bucket to the DynamoDB. So there are options like that. So you can use So it will the DynamoDB provide a feature like a get live item count. So you can count how much items are presented within your table. So with the help of this feature, so here you can see the item count is 2. So and you can see read usage, read throttle request. So write usage, you can get all the detailed information here about your table. So you can also add the items in the form of JSON. So you can write a JSON format to add the items into your tables, or you can use simply click on form. So you can add like this. So here it will show the detail information like your partition key, and if you have any alarms for your tables, or can if you have a capacity mode, so you will get a detail information here. So this is how you can use the AWS DynamoDB to create a non-SQL database.